This is the Vibrant Music Teacher Chat. This is the show for you if you want to catch up on the latest music teacher, piano teacher, and instrumental vocal teacher news, the latest happenings around the internet, around everything that's going on. I share lots of different things about what's going on in the industry here, as well as some fun stuff, free blog posts and stuff that I think are particularly interesting here on the show. I also share a little bit about what's going on with me and the current projects. We then dive into a special topic. Today's topic is all about teaching Christmas music with lead sheets. So specifically teaching Christmas music with lead sheet formats and why that's beneficial and how it can be useful and how you can go about it in your studio. So that's today's special topic. And the question of the day is, have you ever taught holiday music using lead sheets, or is this a new thing for you? Maybe you teach it normally in a different format and you're thinking about doing it this way. This is the show for you to find out more about that. We'll also be doing our normal segments about our website reviews. So we'll be looking at 2 websites towards the end of the show to give you some insights on effective marketing, effective website formats for music teachers, and just really beyond websites, what's useful for music teachers in terms of how we market our studios and how we communicate our value and what we do to prospective parents and current parents too. So I'm really looking forward to diving into 2 more websites today. Before that though, if we're just meeting, hello, hi, I'm Nicola Canton. So I run this YouTube channel, Colourful Keys, as well as the Colourful Keys blog, and a site called Vibrant Music Teaching, which is where I provide resources and assistance around teaching creatively, using games in your teaching, and finding the balance for your music teaching business. So if you are new here, we are the loveliest community around. So please do say hi to us. Even if you've never joined in with a live chat on YouTube, you've never even joined in with any music teaching community online, this is the place to start. Now's your time. Now's the day to do it. Just say hi to us. We will not bite in the comments, and let us know your thoughts on this topic. Even if it's brand new to you, even if you say, this is my first day ever of teaching, no one is going to say that you're in the wrong place. Everyone is welcome here, no matter where you're at in your teaching journey. So do chime in with the comments. And if you are brand new here, consider subscribing to the channel. This is the place where we have this show, but also every week I share tutorial videos, shorter videos that are more bullet points to the point to give you information around music teaching and tips for your studio. So we do that, those release every Thursday, and we do the show here on Mondays, and both are very different, but I hope really beneficial experiences for music teachers. And as I record this, we are 3 people away from 5,000 subscribers here on the channel. And these numbers really don't matter to me very much because it's all about individual people and making connections with all of you. But it would be fun to hit that 5k mark. So if you haven't subscribed, would you just go ahead and do it today so I can just check that off the list and say that we've reached the 5k mark? Okay? Thank you. Right. So in music teacher news, let's dive in. In music teacher news this week, starting with myself, I have been doing more stuff to do with our Vibrant Music Teaching Industry Report. And, oh, thank you, Helen, for the compliment. You made me look at myself and realize that my necklace also wasn't showing. I do love this purple top. I got it at a bargain. In Dunn's, which is the company where I used to work, but I bought it at full price, not when I worked there. Anyway, this is the wrong thing. I'm looking for the report. This is the report that we put together last year, 2019's report. And I wanted to mention it today because if you're not a Vibrant Music Teaching member, once we put up the 2020 report, this is no longer going to be on the blog for free. So if you want to grab that, now is your chance to do it, because the new report will be coming out in December, and I've been polishing that up, and my wonderful, wonderful team member Sarah has been helping me and proofreading and making sure I don't make a mess. She's very good at that. So we are polishing that up together, and it will be coming out in December. If you want to grab this report, the 2019 version, which is fabulous and really interesting to read, and you're not a member, just go to colourfulkeys.ie/report. That's it. /report, okay? If you are a member, it's in the library and it will stay there. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere, even when the 2020 version comes in. But I've really been enjoying putting that together. We asked some extra questions this year, and getting the data back from those has been really interesting, as has seeing the trends from last year to this year, right? It's just really, the more years that we do this, the better it's going to get, and I'm so glad. It's a big project. It was a big thing to take on when I decided, no, we have to tackle this, we have to sort this out. We're the ones to do this because nobody else seems to be doing it in the way that I want to see it done. So, when you don't see something happening, sometimes you just have to grab it and run. And that's what we did in 2019 in December. So we're going to be doing this every year. We've committed to it. And I'm really excited about that, because it means we can compare the data. Specifically, the reason I wanted us to do this report is because we look at things like how creative teachers think they are in their teaching, how much composing they're doing and improvising, trends towards group lessons and buddy lessons, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I see some reports come out, which is great, from people like, I think EPTA does one, various different music teachers associations will do one, but often they're only capturing the data from their association, and also they tend to focus on the business numbers, which are great, the rates and all of that, but I want to see more about how people are actually teaching too, and so that's what our report does. Anyway, it's been really interesting to come out of last year, and it's only going to get better and better every year. And thank you all so much for everyone who filled in the survey, and if you didn't, you'll get it next year, and we will be delighted to have you as part of it. I recorded an episode of the podcast today about some of the top insights. I tried to keep it brief, but I went longer than our normal episode, so it's going to be an extra long one. Normally, the Vibrant Music Teaching podcast is very bite-sized, but this is more like, I think it'll be about 40 minutes, so it's like a double-length episode for us, since we're normally so concise. But it was just so much to talk about. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to getting this out to you when it's ready in December, but if you want the 2019 one, just go grab it now from the blog if you're not a member. Now, other stuff I've been doing last week, I've started to work on one of our 2021 courses called Ear Elevator. I want to tell you guys about this because I don't think it exists, and I think it's going to be really cool. What it is it's a layered series of tracks that a student is going to listen to and figure out by ear, and I'm specifically staggering it so that they're working on identifying intervals. A lot of teachers will do those ear training exercises where is it a step, is it a skip, or is it a second or third, and then they have to build up and they identify all these intervals, but they're not really using them for anything and there's no context. So this is, you're building a actual piece with these individual elements that are contained, that are kept to a certain number of intervals or a certain level of difficulty in one way or another. So there's different levels of them, and I hope that makes some sense in terms of a teaser of what it's going to be about. But obviously members will get it in 2021 when it's out, but I've just started putting that together, and it's challenging for me always when I have to do composing as part of the courses I'm putting together, but it's a challenge I love taking on, and seeing what I can do within the parameters of keeping it as simple as possible for students to figure out. So I'm really excited about that one. I think it's going to be cool. Before that though, in 2021, the first course is Productivity Power Up. And so that's more on the business side. And I know it's something that teachers are really have been asking me about a lot, the whole productivity area. And I'm excited to get that into your hands too. The other thing I was working on this week was the last blog article that we're going to be publishing in 2020. We wanted to do something fun to finish off the year, and this is going to be a roundup post with 5 different expert teachers, really wonderful bloggers and people from around the interwebs that I know, all sharing their top practice tips. And just the breadth of these practice tips it's awesome, and I think it's going to inspire you, yes, to teach your students practice better, but I think every one of them would apply to you as a teacher and give you a new perspective on your own practicing as well, which is why I wanted to do it as the last post of this year, because what I think many of us will need to do during those Christmas holidays, if you have them, is to take a step back and actually play our instrument and reconnect with why we were doing this. Because it's been a I'm trying to think of a not too negative word. Let's say a congested year. It's been a fuzzy year. And so I think we're going to need some time to actually play. And those practice tips, I believe, will help you to do that, to see your own practice in a different way and reconnect with the piano or whatever it is that you play. So yeah, I'm excited about that one. It's coming together really beautifully. Some other news, some other stuff from around the internet that I think you might be interested in. First of all, just pure inspiration. There's a podcast called 99% Invisible. Let me know if you've heard of that podcast, if you're already a listener. They just put out a bonus episode, and they did a bonus episode which is sort of an homage to another podcast, Song Exploder. But what they did for this was they broke down a particular composition of they have an in-house composer at 99% Invisible, which is generally about design, but this was about her composition process, and it's just really interesting. It's about this music box episode they did, and it's awesome. And yeah, Valerie, if that's new to you, 99% Invisible, I mean, it's one of the huge podcasts out there, right? It's one of the most well-known, way beyond our music teaching sphere. I listen to it because obviously I love design and all of that stuff, and they're just fascinating. I mean, even before that, there was an episode recently about the airplane safety cards and the design of them and the history of them. So they generally take everyday objects and show you why they're amazing. It's an incredible show. But the recent episode was particularly relevant to us because they did break down this work of this composer and how it came together, and it's just awesome to listen to. On the more specific to us, down-to-earth practical side, there was a great post by Rosemary Penner of the unfinishedlesson.com. The unfinished lesson, like not finished. So Rosemary blogged about, what was it called? Our Christmas Studio Activities Worth It was the title. And I thought it was really great because it was thinking about the two sides of, yes, these things are fun, like these kinds of themed activities. It doesn't even have to be at Christmas, right? It'll help you think through themes and events and stuff like that versus the effort that we put into them, because it can be enormous. So I thought it was a really insightful blog post from Rosemary and well worth a look. So that's the unfinishedlesson.com. And then last two things in news. First of all, the Tanara Expo is going to be coming up on the 18th and 19th of December. I might have just got that wrong. I'm terrible with dates. I didn't write it down. I think that's right. I'm going to be speaking at that anyway. I'm good at showing up on certain dates, just not good at saying them. Anyway, it's at the end of December. It is awesome. The lineup that is there is great, and it's super cheap for what it is. It's 2 days of great speakers and Tanara has put all this together, and it's only like $30 anyway, but you can also get 50% off with my code. So if you haven't got that yet, check my Instagram or the Facebook group, and you'll see a post there from me. If you just search for Tanara, you'll see a post there from me about the code that you need to sign up with that 50% off discount. But even if you don't get the discount, it's only 30 quid, right? I'm not saying that's a penny, but for a 2-day conference, that's pretty epic. So it's going to be great. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to speaking at that. I'm going to be speaking about grit, how to create gritty students, something I'm getting into more and more in 2021 with the VMT work and some games I have coming out. So really looking forward to speaking about that, and definitely sign up if you're going to be around on those dates and want to finish off the year in style, as we say here. So yeah, that should be really fun. And lastly, 2 wonderful things, one definite, one not so definite, are happening on December 1st. So first of all, 3 kind of. It'll officially be the last month of 2020, and I think everyone will cheer. But aside from that, here in Ireland, that's supposed to be the date that our current level of lockdown ends, and I'm back to being able to teach in person in a socially distant way. Now, that's still TBD, so thank you, Joe, for confirming that. I haven't lost my marbles. It is the 18th and 19th of December for the Tanara Expo. So, yeah, the 1st of December is supposed to be when I'm possibly able to teach in person again for the final 3 weeks of 2020. We'll see if that really comes true, because there's no official news on that until the end of this week. I mean, I know they have to wait and see, but that's very tight. Anyway, so that's one fun thing that's happening on the 1st of December. But the fun thing that's happening for you is that the 2020 sign-off, as we're calling it, will be starting. So that is our fun advent calendar. So it starts next week. Watch out for details on that. Watch our Instagram and Facebook and stuff. We're going to be posting a fun surprise, some prizes, some fun freebies, some just silly stuff to make you giggle every day until Christmas. So that starts obviously on the 1st of December, so that's next week as well. Okay, so fun stuff that's around and about right now. Today, the lead sheet level up came out. This is our new course, and I'm going to be talking about it a little bit later because it's so relevant to today's topic. And yeah, it's a really fun one. I think you're going to love it, and it's a perfect follow-on from the lead sheet kickoff. Obviously, lead sheet kickoff, lead sheet level up. We didn't name them that way by accident. I think it's going to be a great resource for you. Obviously, I've already been using it with my own students, and it's been really great for us. We also have a post on the blog, which is at colourfulkeys.com if you're not familiar. And that's about where to find great lead sheets, because that can be definitely challenging. So check that out if you're not sure where to even look for lead sheets or what the different types are and that kind of stuff. And then we had a podcast episode come out today about how to use lead sheets. So you may have noticed a theme there, and this is something we're carrying forward more and more, that I'm trying to make sure that all our different things that come out, because we have so many different things. We have the podcast, we have 2 YouTube videos every week if you include this chat show. We have the blog posts, sometimes also guest blog posts or a update to an older one. Did I say podcast? I'm doing a terrible list here. And then we have VMT resources that come out, like courses and stuff like that. So what we're trying to do more and more is align all those things so that if you want several different perspectives on it to really digest the information. You've got that. You can read it, you can listen to it, you can watch a video on it, and you can watch this type of video where we're chatting, and you can watch the more succinct video as well that comes out on Thursdays here on the channel. But also, if one of those media just does not suit you, fine. You don't have to use that one because you have that information in another way. So whether that doesn't suit you because you just don't like reading, that's fine. Or whether it doesn't suit you because you have a visual impairment and it's hard to read the thing. I want you to have that information in various different ways. So that's something we're trying to do more and more. So today we're talking about Christmas lead sheets. The course is out. There's the blog post about finding great lead sheets, and there's the podcast episode about how to use lead sheets. So they're not exactly the same as each other. They're not reiterating each other. You can listen to and read all of them and gain something, but you can also just pick and choose the media that works for you. I hope that's something that you find helpful and that it helps reduce overwhelm. That's the real goal with that, is to say these things are all about the one topic, so you can focus on this one thing, and I'm never overwhelming you with or sending you in different directions, because that's never what I want to be doing. I just want to be providing useful information in the way that you need it. So yeah, that's all good stuff. We also had a YouTube video out last week about 7 ways to teach a new piano piece, and we've had great feedback on that so far. So really nice comments on it, people finding it really useful. It sounds like a simple thing, but just looking at 7 different ways and saying, do I use all of those? And even if one of them is new to you, it's worth watching, because then you'll think about, trying that new way, and it might just spark more interest in your teaching. New teaching ideas don't have to be some big, massive revolution. They don't have to require tons of training. It can just be as simple as looking at the ways you start a new piece and saying, am I doing all these different things? Could I benefit from adding this new one? And trying it. It can be that simple, folks. It doesn't have to be complex. So check that out. Also, I had a bonus video, extra video. See? So much stuff. There was another YouTube video that I brought out last week, and that was because I was, the Zoom update is catching up to us. I know it's a while ago, but it's catching up. That more and more people have updated. And a lot of my piano parents and students had updated, and they got the settings wrong, or they'd gone with the default, and it was wreaking havoc. And I don't know if you guys have found that as well, but it definitely was affecting my ability to teach. So I put together a video just to say, here's where the settings are, here are the ones that I want you to set up now, and also if you do this now, it means you can adjust them later because you know where these actually are. So I recorded that video. I did it to show the desktop on Mac, but it's the same on Windows if you just find the settings. Show the desktop and the iPad version in one video. So I wanted to have it that you say, no matter what you're on, it should look something like this. Please set it up this way. And so, of course, I released that publicly because you guys might like it. So if you want that one, it's on the YouTube channel. Just click through to the Colourful Keys channel and you'll see it there. It's like the second from the top, something like that, as this goes live. And then lastly, in fun stuff, next week, we have a few things coming out as usual. So we're shifting gears to talk more about playing by ear, leading on from our lead sheets work, but more about playing by ear and related topics. So on the blog, we're going to be talking about how to teach piano students to play by ear, like literally a step-by-step process, because I know that for some of you it's instinctive, for some of your students it's instinctive, but some of them really, they feel really overwhelmed by the possibilities of all the different notes, and you need to be able to hold their hand through it, and you need a structure to be able to do that in some cases. So that's what that blog post is about. And then the YouTube video next week, that's coming out next Thursday, is going to be about Kodai syllables. So that is a question I've gotten over and over again, and I wanted to get this video out to you guys. So literally the request I get is, can you just say all the syllables so that I can hear what they sound like? Because they're not making sense to me lined with the rhythm or that kind of thing. So that's what that video is. It's me saying the syllables and saying why I say them that way, an alternative if there is one, and how to adapt it for your teaching. So I hope that'll be useful for those who have requested that in the past. Now, let's dive into this lead sheet thing, shall we? Keep adding your thoughts about lead sheets and whether you use them to teach Christmas music. I know it's something I've only done maybe the past few years, but I think it's a great opportunity for teaching lead sheets, playing, to use Christmas carols, Christmas music, holiday music to teach lead sheets. I think it's a great opportunity. Teresa said, so timely as lead sheet carol playing is my priority for most students, along with the chord grids. Awesome. So if this is your priority, or if you've never done it before, let us know what you think. The reason I really like this time of year and this type of music for doing lead sheets is because lead sheets, although it is reading, it does work best when you know the song. They do. Don't you think so? If you're given a song that you've never heard before and you're asked to play it from a lead sheet, it's tough. It would be much easier to play a full arrangement of that song if you haven't heard it before. So having this arrangement process is much easier when you know how something is supposed to sound, or your favorite way for it to sound, in the case of a Christmas piece, because it can sound tons of different ways. You can have all kinds of different jingle bells, as we know and as we have heard, right? The other reason I think this is really useful is that Christmas melodies, and if anyone can tell me why this is, I would love to know, but they are not simple. And the reason I find that remarkable is because they're basically folk songs, or they should be basically folk songs, shouldn't they? Maybe I'm conflating folk songs and hymns in a really, really silly way. But to me, they're kind of like folk songs, or they should be kind of like folk songs. And therefore, they should be easy to sing and play. And therefore play. They should have a more limited range and be simpler. For lack of a better word. They're not, though, are they? I mean, Jingle Bells, the reason we default to Jingle Bells, yes, kids always want to play it, and that's fine. But the other reason we default to it is the chorus stays in a 5-finger position. The other default song that comes up all the time is Jolly Old St. Nicholas. And I don't know, North Americans in the chat, let me know, is Jolly Old St. Nicholas like actually sung all over the place? Is it ubiquitous? Is it like Jingle Bells or Rudolph or even Hark the Herald? Is it like that over there? Or is it only popular in books because it's simple to play? Because my theory is the latter. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe it is just an American UK difference. Oh, yeah, it is very popular. Okay. Alice said no, though. So I think it depends where you are. I definitely don't think it has Jingle Bell status, does it, Valerie? I'd be interested. Because over here, like, kids have never heard that song. That's not, they don't even believe it's a Christmas song. And yet I have to get them to learn it sometimes because it is by far the simplest. So, okay, so Melinda, you said you've never heard of it. Where are you, Melinda? Elizabeth said Northeast. Yes, people do sing it. Teresa, who's in Canada, no, students don't get exposed to Jolly Old St. Nick. And Laura, you said it is, so Laura's in the States as well. Maybe it is not in the South. So maybe it's specific to north of the US. Yeah, it's an interesting one because I didn't hear of it until I became a piano teacher. Like I had never heard that. It's not anything. I don't think my mum would know it, you know? So anyway, that my point there is Christmas pieces are not simple. Most of them, a lot of them, have an octave jump. That's like a commonality in Christmas music if you really start to think through. And the reason I would have thought of it in this way, I guess, beyond just a piano teacher's perspective, is actually laying out the music. So I put together Chroma Christmas, which I'll show you in a second. I put that together last year, and that is coloured notation for lead sheets. And so I had to pick out the simplest ones and try to make them accessible. And there are just so many with octave leaps. Or at least that span the full octave of the scale, which is, not that common for common songs, for singable music. What was that comment there? Oh, Melinda, some Christmas carols did start out as Gregorian chant and folk melodies. Yeah, so shouldn't they be simpler? Anyway. Okay. Oh, interesting. Michigan. Okay, so another vote for Jolly Old Saint Nick. I've nothing against the song, by the way. I'm just curious as to its popularity. Laura, okay, so kids will know the traditional carols here, generally. It depends. So the degree to which they know them depends, and it very much depends on the type of school they go to here. Because if they go to a non-denominational or multi-denominational, actually, technically, school, then they might be less likely to know them. Or they still might have sung them, but maybe a bit more likely if they're in a Catholic school, which is most of the schools here. And then way more likely if they're in a Church of Ireland school, like mine was. So I knew all of them growing up, and that's because you sing a lot in Church of Ireland schools generally. But that's besides the point. My point was about the complexity of these melodies. And so that's another reason why it's great to learn them through lead sheets and using your ear, because you're going to be jumping around the place, and if you can create your own arrangement and really just memorize the melody, you're going to be doing better. You're going to be playing them more smoothly. It also means you have the option of just playing the chords. If you don't want to play the melody, you don't have to, because people can sing it, right? Which is one of the wonderful things about Christmas music, is when your family does know it, you can be the accompanist, right? Which is a wonderful experience for students, getting to have a family sing-along. And, I hope they'll do that this year within their immediate family, even if it's just that they'll gather around the piano and sing. That doesn't happen. I believe it used to happen a lot more. It doesn't happen, does it? But at Christmas is that opportunity. That's the time it can. And it's so wonderful. It's one of the greatest things you can do. And they can do that with just the chords. Right? So if you teach them a vocabulary of chords, they can learn far, far more song. Not even learn. Just read all of these Christmas carols by playing simple chord patterns, and they can be the accompanist. Right? This is why I haven't taught carols via lead sheets. The fingering. Yeah, but when you're playing with a lead sheet, you can get away with just jumping around a bit and stuff, Whereas when you have an arrangement, you end up not getting to a lot of the more fun songs because they're too difficult to arrange for a beginner. Or they'll be arranged between the hands, and then they're just the melody, and they sound very drab, don't they? Yeah, very interesting thoughts coming in about the ubiquity as well as why they're complex, or the hymn background and all of that stuff. It's really fascinating to me. I just really find it interesting. Another last reason why I think teaching lead sheets, Christmas music through lead sheets is great is because they're pieces you have to play again and again, or want to play again and again every year. And this way you can make them different every year, and your students can see that progression in themselves. They can be playing Jingle Bells straight with just root notes, and then the next year they have learned this cool left-hand pattern, and they get to employ that, or they've learned about inversions and they get to bring that in. And they can literally see their progression because it's the same song, and you're happy to play the same song multiple times, which you're not always with other things, right? But Christmas music has that opportunity. Yes, Teresa, so true. Great to encourage to get out of position playing. Yeah, and I wasn't saying the 5-finger position thing that I would like them to be literally just that. I just think it's interesting, remarkable in the truest sense of the word, that very few can be played in that way, unless you count this 10-finger position way. Okay, so that's why I think this is really beneficial. Now, I wanted to give you a few places where you might find Christmas lead sheets, so let me show you where those are. Okay, so this is the first one, which is Chroma Christmas, which I mentioned a second ago. Let me scroll down where there's a photo. Oh, there isn't a photo that we can look at. I'm going to show you that on the member site then. There we go. Okay, so... Oh, no, yeah, I didn't open that up. Whoopsie daisies. Let's open it from here. By the way, members who are watching, you know there's always a link. So when you are on the blog and you're reading something and you're like, oh, do I really have to put in my email address to get this thing? I'm already a member. No, you don't. Always below that box, there's a link directly to the membership site. So if you're signed in, you can just then download it and you don't need to wait for an email. Even for freebies. So this is Chroma Christmas. Laura, that is a great point. She said the optimal singing key for many carols isn't the same as the optimal playing key for a young student, especially the songs with larger ranges. This is where playing more by ear and more from memory is useful, because it's not actually that hard to play in G major versus C major, right? It just might be harder to read it for some students if they haven't ever encountered an F sharp. But because they know the sound of the song, if they play that F natural, they're going to feel it in their bones, right? And therefore they can fix it. So I think this is where it's great not to have the full arrangement, because it's easier to do that. Okay, so this is Chroma Christmas that I mentioned. So members, you can download this in the library. Non-members, this is on the blog, so you can actually get this as a bonus for free for subscribing to the email list. So if you want to jump over there, just Google Chroma Christmas, it'll probably pop up, or Christmas lead sheets, colourful keys, something like that. So this is actually, there's a version that's just the melody there, and then there's a version with the chords, and then there's these are used for group lessons. You probably don't need these right now, but anyway, it's a landscape version there. Oh, actually, you know what, that would be useful as a screen version right now, so if you want to use it for that. And then these are giant ones, which again are for group lessons. If you're fortunate enough to be able to do group lessons right now, where I print out the big ones, there's 4, and I put them on the board or on the floor so we can all see them at the same time. So yeah, that's a great resource for you. There's the colored versions there, and then these are also down here, which are for laying out the patterns on the floor, and there's solfege and CDE versions there, so whichever you prefer on that one. So there's a few great carols there to get you started. Some more resources though, and oh yeah, please do add your favorites in the chat. So if you have a favorite source for Christmas lead sheets, we would love to hear it. This site is Michael Kravchuk. Hopefully that's the correct pronunciation. Michael Kravchuk, and he has a ton of lead sheets, Christmas lead sheets here. I just wanted to caution you a little bit. I saw 3 ships is one that I wish students knew, but they don't. Do any of your students know that one? Mine aren't familiar with it at all, but I really like it. I think it's a great piece. Now, I wanted to just mention that, it didn't show it this time. This is an ad right here, but sometimes it attempts to trick you into clicking on it by claiming that's the PDF download. So just if you're visiting this site, I wanted to put that little PSA out there. Don't click on the ad. Sometimes it doesn't look like it's the ad. It looks like it's the download, like it'll say, but you can kind of see that it's a different site at the bottom. Anyway, to actually download it, you can just click on it. So it's great that Michael has these up there. I think it's a great, I was going to say selection. It's the breadth of them is wonderful. Loads of those there. And then the next one I wanted to show you, also free. Oh, good point, Teresa. Tim Topham does have some on his site as well. Yeah, another great place to download them. Actually, I'll just put up Teresa's comment in case you don't know how to spell Tim's name. So Tim Topham, if you look up topmusic.co, that'll be Tim's site. And then this is Music for Music Teachers. These are free lead sheets. This is a great resource for free lead sheets in general. However, a lot of the mix in here is actually Christmas. So if I scroll down a bit, I saw some earlier and now I'm missing them. Yeah, Angels We Have Heard on High, right? So you do have to just scroll through there. If you're looking for Christmas arrangements, there's a separate section on the site, but if you're just looking for the lead sheets, you have to scroll through them. But it's a great resource and totally free, so that's awesome. So 4 great places if we include Tim's site there for you. And then Helen suggested a book. Hal Leonard has the Christmas Fake Book. Love Hal Leonard's fake books, so I think that's a great option, especially if a student wants to, say, play at a Christmas party or do gigs or anything like that, or is just really into Christmas music. But often we only want 1 or 2, and that's where free sites like this with arrangements are great, I think. Yeah, so keep adding your thoughts if you have more ideas for where to get great Christmas lead sheets. I want to briefly run you through how I might teach these, because I'm not going to go into detail because we do have a lot about this, and we have the 2 courses now and everything like that. But basically, if you've never taught lead sheets before, you're not sure how to do this with beginners, this is what I recommend you do to start. So just start with the root note in the left hand with the melody in the right hand. Step 1. Then have students try playing the chord in the right hand. So C major, they play C chord, and just the root note, just C in the left hand, and sing along. That's really important, because if they learn to do that with themselves singing, they're going to be this amazing leader for sing-alongs in their family, and that's really my dream. That's what I want them to do. So great option there. And then they can do the chord plus the melody, and then you can get into inversions and all of that good stuff. And when you're getting into that level of things, that's where you would be moving into lead sheet level up territory, as you'll see in the latest course, which is this one right here. So we have the lead sheet kickoff, that's for beginners, and that will talk you through that whole root and melody, how to really make lead sheets accessible for absolute beginners. But then the lead sheet level up, this is the next stage, but it's not even like you would do the lead sheet kickoff and then do this straight away. You would actually do the lead sheet kickoff multiple times with different songs to get used to the process of lead sheets and how they work. And then you go on to this when your student is itching to play stuff that's more involved. Play around with the left hand, do different things, use inversions, all of that crack. So this is a great next step. It's an 8-week plan, but it could take you longer than that in the beginning. It's more that it'll eventually be 8 weeks actually. So you'll see week 1, foundations, week 2, octaves, arpeggios, root 5 root and root 3, jump bass, substitutions, right hand embellishments, and then intros, which can also be outros. Really, that's the secret. So that could take you 8 weeks, it could take you 16, or you could get to week 4 and say, that's enough for now. That's absolutely fine. It's a very flexible set of plans. And again, you'd run through this multiple times to get used to it. Once your student is able to get through this in 8 weeks, they're confident doing all of these different stages and they just need a week to practice this with a new song, they are ready to go out into the wild. There is no next level. Before members ask, there is no next level of the lead sheet plan. I'm not doing another course on this, because after this, they need to take it and run with it. They need to look at their own pieces and see how they're arranged and try different things and listen and play by ear and all of that stuff. So, yeah, that's when they just roll with it. But this will get them up to a really solid level where they're getting used to exploring in that way. So I'm really excited for some of you to try it and let me know how it goes. Do let me know if you had a look through it maybe already. It literally only came out today, so you'd have to be super on the ball to have already looked through it. But I think it's going to be great for you. I think it's going to be a great next step and something members have been asking about, so I'm really excited about that. If you're not a member and you want to access that, you can just go to vibrantmusicteaching.com if you want to learn more about membership and all that it entails. Right, so next up we are going to go into the web reviews, but if you have follow-up questions about lead sheets and Christmas music, do let me know. Right now though, let's look at some web reviews. Alright, so this is Mika Mulford Piano Studio. I really like the simple, clean approach of this website. I think it's a great first impression. It looks modern, it looks like the website is being updated, and that's always a fantastic and surprisingly rare start. So well done on that. Now, what I don't see, everyone can tell me in the chat, the regulars can, is a call to action. I've got these tiny little buttons. I've got a Facebook button and an email button. Let's see, can I see? Yeah, that's a mail to link. I don't like those. Does anyone know what these are? When you click on it, it'll try and automatically open your email client. The reason I don't like them is because most people, like me, use Gmail and don't actually use Outlook or on a Mac Mail, the actual app anymore. We just use it through our browser. And so that, I'll click on it, thinking it's going to a contact page or something, and then it'll open mail and I'll go, and then I'll force quit mail and be not annoyed at you, but just like, gosh, that kind of emotion. And that's not really what you want as a first impression. So I would default to a contact form or showing people your email rather than having a mail to link like that if you can, Mika. But the more important thing is we need a big button that tells me what to do. I don't know where to go or what to do right now. Down here it says email Mika. That's not the strongest of CTA, of calls to action. What you want to do is tell me what I'm actually going to do. Like, no one is excited to email someone, right? What I'd be excited to do is sign up for lessons, learn more about lesson options. I need something to do that isn't just emailing, because I don't know why I'm emailing. So a big button would be great. Now what I do love is the smiling photo view. I think that's awesome. I think it looks great and really personal, and I think that's fantastic. You've got your resume here. And then we've got prospective students, the studio, current students' performance. As a parent, I might get confused by these. Current students is a bit more colloquial. I think I'd get it. Prospective isn't my favorite word, and I use it. Actually, that's funny. I said that earlier today, didn't I? It's fine in conversation. Written down, it does feel a bit stuffy. I don't know if you guys have that connotation. You can let me know. Maybe that's just me being silly. But it makes me think of like a big college, like an Ivy League college. Not like a friendly local studio. So let's see what's actually on the page, and I might suggest an alternative. it's also about who I am rather than where I'm going, which is the real reason I think I don't love it. Yeah, I would say about lessons. That's what I would say. About lessons. And then we have the studio. I'm not sure this is a necessary page. I think it might be combined with the other one. The rates and stuff could be a separate page, but I don't think the studio is the right topic for it because, again, it looks like a lovely space. It's wonderful, but it's not my primary reason. It's not of primary concern to me when I'm trying to decide where to go for piano lessons for my child or for myself. I don't really care what your space looks like. I mean, I do when I get there, but it's not top of my list. So I'd maybe rethink this page. Maybe it should be fees, or maybe it should be calendar, or something like that. Something more practical. I would just make that plural. Performances, or events, something like that. Just to make it clear what I'm clicking on. Overall, I think the vibe of this site is great, Mika, so well done on that. And just add a big button here, okay? Tell me what to do. And then maybe rethink those menu names, and I think you'll be golden. It's great. Well done. Then we have Artful Rose Studio as our second site today. So, Artful Rose Studio, very different vibe right away. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not sure you need a search bar. Like, let's say, on a small site, I think a search bar is generally unnecessary. Yeah, see? That's the other problem with searches. And people may have found this on my site occasionally. Search is surprisingly hard to do. There's a reason Google makes the big bucks, in a way. It's surprisingly hard to get right. And it's also just not necessary. So I would remove that. I would also left align this text instead of center aligning it. That's me being picky, but it's just convention to have it left aligned in this kind of a circumstance. And I would make the font a bit bigger there, Taylor. So yeah. But picture view is great. Rethink the size of these guys. Something funny and wibbly is happening there. Then our menu structure is nice and clear. So we've got home, singing lessons, acting lessons, musical theatre, performer. Okay. I think that could be in line with the other titles there. Just like almost hire me to perform, or maybe someone in the chat can think of a better term there. I'm drawing a blank, but it doesn't quite fit in with the way the others are worded. Gigs, I don't know. Anyway, that's again me being pedantic as usual. So yeah, each of your services is listed here. I think that's great. It's simple, it works. I would maybe increase the size of this logo. And again, we need a stronger call to action on the front page. So I know you have the email there, but I would have a big button that tells me, email me about lessons, or whatever your main thing is, whatever the most likely is. Obviously, you have the different options. There's acting lessons, there's singing lessons, there's musical theatre, there's hiring you as an artist. But whichever one is the most common, just have that as a big button. So inquire about singing lessons, book your first lesson, something like that, and then that'll link to a contact page. But overall, well done. The truth is, having a website is so much better than not having one. So you're already a step up there, both of you, and I think you both did a great job. So well done to our website reviewees today. If you want your website reviewed on this show, what you need to do is add your site in the Vibrant Music Studio Teachers group on Facebook. There's an announcement post at the top. You just add your site there, and I pick at random each week. and review a couple of sites that I think we might learn something from. So that's the process there. Now, before we address the final two questions there and wrap things up, please can you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned, we were almost at 5k, so it would be nice to hit, get through that little silly goal of having a specific number on the channel. That would be fun, but most importantly, it would be great if you hit the like button so that other teachers like you can find this video if you think they would find it useful. So if you've found something useful today, if you found it interesting, if you've learned something new, then you want other teachers to learn more too. So do let them know by hitting the like button. That helps YouTube to spread it to other people. I had a couple of questions about the sites we mentioned there. So we were talking about, you said the last two, so I'm not quite sure which one it is, but we've got Michael Kravchuk, might be what you're looking for. And we have, that was already mentioned earlier, but Music for Music Teachers is the other one with the free sites. What am I trying to say? Music? Free sheets, lead sheets. And then that is the blog post where we shared the Chroma Christmas. And then the last one there is for members. That's the lead sheet level up course if you want access to that and want to jump over straight away and check it out. But that'll only work if you're signed in to your Vibrant Music Teaching account. So hopefully that helps. Now, thank you all so much for joining me. Just a couple of things before I go. This has been a long one. I hope that it's been a good long one and that you're not sitting there thinking, why did she go on and on today? I just had a lot to talk about, so hopefully it's been useful for you. Now, couple of things last thing before I let you go and get on with your beautiful Mondays. Next week, we're talking about coaching tips to help students play by ear. So if you want to come along to that, I think it's going to be a great topic. Looking at how we teach students who are reluctant to play by ear, who don't instinctively gravitate towards that. How can we walk them through that process and help them to figure out songs by ear? So I'm going to be going through that. I'll probably be using the keyboard, using the digital piano during that one to demonstrate exactly what that would look like. So hopefully that'll be useful and nice and practical for you. And we'll have all our usual music teacher news and that kind of stuff, which will be fun. So come along to that. Our schedule for these chats, if you're not familiar, is Mondays. Every Monday, 4 p.m. Dublin time, that's where I live, which is 11 a.m. in New York. And lots of other times all over the world, wherever you're joining me from. So you can work it out based on that, or just based on the time on this YouTube video, because it's the same time every week, right? Okay, so that is it for today, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me. It has been awesome to hang out with you. Before you go, make sure to hit that like button just before you hop away and subscribe to the channel. And I will catch you on the next one of these next week. Bye for now, guys.